Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about making a customized metahuman face that works inside Unreal. Making a metahuman face that works inside Maya is pretty easy, but when it comes to Unreal, it gets complicated. So I choose this scan that I did for my friend. And the reason is that it's not done in a studio. And it's not done even with high-end cameras, but by a regular phone in his yard. And here is the picture I can show you. And these are the pictures. Actually, I cut them out. I removed the background, and I'm going to show one of the original pictures. Here's the original picture. And as you can see, it's just not very high quality picture with a regular camera. And we need just 50 of this picture for photogrammetry. And before sending them to application for photogrammetry, we need to cut it out and remove the background. And in Photoshop, the new version of Photoshop, there's a new tool that is called Object Selection Tool, and you just select the object, which is the character, and Ctrl-Shift-I to inverse the selection, and Ctrl backspace to remove the background. And you don't need to worry about the area that is not going to be made, like the hair, which I am not going to cut the hair exactly like what is it. And it's okay to have a little green here, but for the face you need to make sure that the picture is clear and there is no distortion. And after doing this 15 times, there is an application called 3ds Zephyr, which is free. The free version takes 50 picture, and it even has a preset for humanoid subject, and the result is astonishing. So before talking about retopologizing, I want to talk about metahuman creator. And this is my character, and this is the character in metahuman creator. As you can see, it's not very similar to the final result, but I try to make it as much as similar as the final result. It is important to make a similar character with the similar structure for eyes and lips, because those are the things that are important. Other areas you can ignore it. And so let's talk about wrapping. Wrapping or retopologizing a face to be used as a metahuman is very tricky, and you can't just go ahead and straight away wrapping it. The thing that is very important to keep this is to keep the structure of the face of the metahuman. If you go ahead and wrapping, you may get the same shape that you want as your scan. May get the same shape as your scan, and but the structure may be wrong. As look at the eyelid, for example. These edges are exactly the edge on the metahuman that are supposed on the original metahuman that are on the place. For example, these edges are the edges that are in slope. And in the original metahuman, it is exactly like that. And the edge loop is perfect. For example, if you select edge loop, the edge doesn't go like this, or it doesn't go inside the edge bag. I mean eye bag. And also the same thing for the lips. For example, this edge loop that is representing the edge of the lip is exactly on the same place. It can have the same shape, but for example, this edge could be here, which is wrong. And when you apply delta, you're gonna see the rig isn't working because the structure is wrong. So talking about delta, why delta? As I said, you can just add a blend shape as an extra blend shape to a metahuman and send it to Unreal because you're gonna get a weird offsets. And I told in the previous video it would be best if we could change the joints and using offset joints. But unfortunately, it's not possible. I actually tried to change the metahuman control rig. It can be done, actually, it's not impossible, but very cumbersome, and I just decided to not use it. And instead, I'm using delta. And why delta? Let's explain delta and blend shape in a new scene. Let's say I have an eyeball. This is eyeball. Let's say this is an eyeball. And I'm going to make it like an eyeball. And this is another eyeball. This is my new eyeball, which has a different position and different size. So I'm going to freeze the transform. And let's attach this eyeball to a joint so we can rotate it easily. Skin it. Actually, let's delete the history and skin it. This is our eyeball, and this is our new eyeball. Selecting our eyeball, the blend shape method, and adding the blend shape. So the eyeball become the new eyeball, right? But actually I need to reorder the deformer. The skin cluster always is on top, not blend shape. It won't work. You should have the skin cluster on top. So this is the new eyeball that I hide it, and I have it as blend shape. As you can see, the eyeball is still rotating around the joint, and it is not going to work. So let's delete the blend shape and let's try delta method. And in delta method, let's call it I1, and this is new eye. I'm going to duplicate the original one, and it makes I2 for me. So I select I1, I2, and then the last one, the new one, the new eyeball, and add the blend shape. And in the blend shape node, I'm inputting 1 for I1 and -1 for I2. And now, if I rotate it, the eye is kind of rotating around itself. It is still not perfect. That's why I told you that changing position of the joint is the preferable method, but it's very cumbersome and not practical. So we are going to use the delta method. So here's my delta. So what I did, exactly like the eyeball, this is the original mesh, I duplicate it, I have another head here, mesh 2, and this is my new head, and I add it here, and in the blend shape, I have, let me show you, this is head 1, head 2, -1, and I have added a couple of other blend shapes, and I'm going to explain why they are added. So, and also for the eye, and these eyes have an offset, and if I remove the -1, which it goes back to the new shape, the original shape, you can see the original shape is like that, and it has a slight offset to it. All right, and this one has offset too. So as long as the offset is not very dramatic, it will work. But you need to put the eyes, because eyes is very important, because eyes are the most challenging part that you need to make it right, and you want to make the eyes at least having the least offset. And if you take a look at the original one, you can see I try to make the eyes as close as possible, eyes and eyelids as close as possible to the original shape. And I'm going to tell you why it should be close. Because for the lips, it's already work out of the box. And it's good, it's working, it doesn't matter, but that is as offset, but for the eyes, it matters. So I have added a couple of blend shape here, and I'm going to show you. Here's my blend shape. So if, for example, I add a blink pose, right now it's okay. But if I remove my blend shape, you can see here is a bad offset. So it's unavoidable, you have to fix it, for the eyes at least. And the way that I fix it was adding a blend shape to it, and I connected the blend shape to the joints, that closes the eyelid, actually, this joint. Actually, it's hard to find because it's closed. This joint. I connect it to this joint. So as this joint rotates, it's a set-driven key. This blend shape is triggered. And I could connect this blend shape to another blend shape that triggers by, this is from the original shape, that triggers by the eyelid. But the problem is, for example, if I have eye closed, and if I have like eye down, another blend shape is triggered, which is closed and eyelid. Here it is. So you can see eye down and eye blink. And if I go eye right and eye blink, another blend shape. If I go and like 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 1 to 8 different blend shape, I need to fix them, 8 of them, all of them, And also I need to consider this because this is going to blend with the eyelid. Let's see, this controller is squint, and I believe this one too, this is going to interact with the eyelid. So I would have to consider all of them, and I would have to make like 20 blend shape, and they wouldn't be identical, obviously. And by connecting my blend shape to a joint, I avoid this problem. So this is my eyelid, and I also fixed some other problem for the eyes. For example, this triggers another blend shape and this is connected to joint, and as you can see, when the eye looking the outside, this blend shape, if it wasn't here, it would look weird. And let's see the other eye. See the other eye. This blend shape triggers by the joints and fixes the problem. And I also ended up adding 2 other blend shape, and these are responsible for the extreme position of the eye, like looking at this way. And I'm going to disconnect this for temporarily to see the effect, and break connection. And as you can see here, this is a correct blend shape. And simply I didn't connect this to the joint, but I connected to the actual blend shape that triggers by this move, which is look up and left. For this specific blend shape, I connected that blend shape to this blend shape. So these steps are necessary. And also, on top of that, I try to fix the eyelid because it is very important to have a good, clean eyelid. Look at the eyelid, I mean from inside. The geometry of the eyelid should not sink into each other. And if they sink into each other, they are unreal is going to they will appear as tiered vertices or tiered geometry, and you can see holes in the eyelid. They should be clean and not sink into each other. And to fix that problem, I added this is a mesh deformer, and I added to this area, as you can see. And by the way, this is one of the important things that you need to consider when wrapping. This is the eye fold. The eye fold should be exactly at the eye fold area. Otherwise, it's gonna screw it. See? And this actually this delta mesh, as you can see, I have applied it and even smoothed it a little. And also I have another delta mesh for the lips. Let's have a special pose for the lips. And as you can see, right now it looks natural and good, but let's look at my delta mesh for the lips. If it's not there, the geometry is kind of look weird, and it kind of keep the geometry, and it is just applied to the specific portion of the lips, not all the lips, because I don't want to lose details, kind of. But as you can see, here is then my delta mesh. And so yeah, I could fix it even more, make it perfect, but I mean, for now, I mean, it's enough for a tutorial. And now the question is, with all the deformers, how can we export them into Unreal? You can't export these deformers to Unreal. You can export delta mesh to Unreal. You can export your special rig to Unreal, right? And here is when my script comes into play. I wrote a script, and the script actually take a single mesh, and this is a single mesh. It is a combined eyes and face, and eyes don't have blend shape, but when they are combined with the face, they consider it as a single mesh, and they consider it as a part of the face, let's say, and they take the blend shape. So all the corrective blend shape for the eyes, I mean these offset that I applied with delta mesh, you know, I mean, if it is like it doesn't have blend shape to trigger in Unreal, and even if it would have, it wouldn't be helpful, because you can't do that with blend shape. Anyway, with this script, I can have any eye, any size, any form, and I don't need to be stick to the Unreal to the metahuman eyes. And I'm going to run the script very quick to show you what it is doing. And as you can see, here are the blend shape changing, and the script is actually move the controller for every possible position and combination, and bake the deltas, the delta shapes to the blend shapes, and it actually has 700 blend shapes, and it works perfectly. And because it for every move it has a blend shape, you can do it. And unfortunately, this script is not deliverable. I can't put it in the market so everybody can use it, because it is tricky. It crashes many times. You have to be patient. You have to check it. You have to, like, crashes. Every time it crashes. Right now it is saving the file for me, and when it gets to the end, it crashes, and it's not always working. I mean, after trying 3 or 5 times, I can make it working perfectly. So it's not deliverable for the obvious reason. I can't deliver a script that is always crashing, right? So instead of that, I can offer a service. And recently, I mean, I have many requests from the people to make different faces for metahuman, and I decided to actually make a team and offer this service instead of just selling the script, because it's not just a script. It takes many steps. It's just not the script that's running. You can do you do it by one click. So while I was talking, the script crashed again, and obviously it's not ready to be sold. So I forgot to talk about how I made the texture, this texture. Let's talk about that very quick. And here is let me show you. This is the texture that I used wrap to transfer the texture. And actually this is the original texture. And one side of the face is lit by the light, and the other side is on the dark side. So I duplicated the dark side and mirror it. So to avoid the highlight, because for a texture you want to have a flat texture. You don't want to have highlights. And I also add this saturation to make it like the other texture for metahuman. This is my metahuman texture, and I also added, and for the metahuman I added a mask. This is the mask. If I actually, let me show you the mask. Here it is. I replaced the area that I wanted that had highlights, to remove highlights, and obviously for eyelid and for the lips. I replaced this texture from metahuman, original metahuman, and I kept the original texture to have some similarity to the original character. And I also added this level to make it more similar to the original texture, because the skin is kind of wider than metahuman 1. And how to export it. So for exporting it, this is the file that is done by the script. I take the single mesh, which is head and eye, and as you can see, it's a single mesh and working. I take it and saliva and teeth and export selection, and I call it new face. Export. And while it's exporting, I'm going to show you the character, and I will do later when it's exported. I will repeat the process of making this face in Unreal. And the important thing is that you need to use Unreal 4.26, not 27, because 27 has bug, and if you want to have a customized metahuman face, you need to use 26 and then open it in 27. Currently the character obviously does not have hair, and I will have a tutorial on how to make the hair. And let's, before doing anything, actually, okay, it is exported, and let's change the face. So as you can see here, I have the original face and the new face. So in the blueprint of the character, I actually replaced the face with the new face. And I'm going to replace it back to the original face, and also when you are doing customize metahuman face, remember that you disable LOD by force LOD to 0 by setting 0 for force LOD. And obviously you need to delete all the hair are invisible because they are not useful for they are not for this face, and we are going to make new hair, eyebrow and eyelashes. You can't transfer the metahuman hair for a custom metahuman. And okay, let's delete this one, the new face. And actually it is taking the texture of the new texture that I made. Let's take a look at it. As you can see, I replaced all the textures with this texture. These are the textures that dynamically change. I will have a tutorial on how to make these textures too. For now, I replaced all the textures. And let's import the face. So I'm going to duplicate this face by Ctrl W and call it new face because I named my FBX as new face. I'm going to double click on it and type trans, and I'm going to remove this transform and save it because we are exporting from ZIA. And now I'm going to import my new face and new face, and it's going to take a while. You should say yes when it's asking if you want to replace it, and I'm going to pause the video. When it is finished, I'm back. Okay, it was rather quick. Now I'm going to open the face once again, and the new face that is replaced now, and type rig, and I'm going to assign it face control both control rig and save it. And now let's replace the face to the new face. Okay, done. Now let's check if it is working with actually it is already set for live link ARKit, and if I play, as you can see, it is working. Yeah, it is working, and we can test the control rig. And here is the control rig. Here is eyelid. eye movement, and let's try this, or this one. And as you can see, everything is working the way that was expected. And sometimes it's very tricky and annoying to select just the control rig in Unreal, and really impractical. You can't even, it's impractical to use Unreal for animation because of this problem. I mean, it has many problems. This is one of them. And if you want to do animation, you should use Maya, not Unreal. And it's just good if sometimes, actually it is useful if you send your animation to the control rig, and it is going to be very fast and small size. But the control rig is not that useful, neither for face and nor for the body. So as you can see, we have a customized metahuman face, and in the other tutorial that I'm going to record very soon, I will explain making the hair, and also I will talk about wrapping process a little more. Thank you for watching and have a good time.